Welcome, friends, to day 2. I hope that you had a wonderful time yesterday, and I am so thankful that you are here with me again today. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to pull out your day 2 materials, either from your folder or from the packet that your parents received. Also, let's not forget we want to be coloring our mural for the week and making sure that we're getting it all colored so you can color different pieces every day. And then today we have a new word coloring sheet. So I hope that you will use this and maybe color it throughout parts when you're listening, or even just color it throughout the day. Being compassionate is not always as easy as it sounds. Sometimes we have to take risks in order to ease someone's hurt or suffering. We can be brave to jump in, share, protect, and speak up for others. Help me finish these sentences about how people can be brave. Can you think of several ways that each person can be brave? Mia has extra food in her pantry. She can be brave, and those are all really great answers. Taylor is a lifeguard. When someone is struggling in the water, Taylor can be brave, and Jaden sees a friend picking on a younger child. Jaden can be brave, and Sam notices the teacher never calls on Kai by the name they prefer. Sam can be brave, and Miss Perez notices her students are restless and need a break. Mrs. Perez can be brave, and today's song is about being brave. It doesn't mean you won't feel scared. It's okay to feel scared. But God gives us compassion, so we will feel brave enough to make choices to ease the hurt of others. We can always ask a grown-up for help. We can be a team to show compassion to others. Please join our compassion volunteer in singing Brave Enough.
Hi. Today we're going to learn a song called Brave Enough. We learned the story about a man who was paralyzed, whose friends were very brave to bring him to Jesus, and they had to do the extraordinary thing of going through the roof of that home to have Jesus see the man and to heal him. The man himself had a lot of faith, but the friends had a lot of faith too, and they knew that the right thing to do was to make sure that he got to see Jesus. So this song, Brave Enough, we're going to use some of the signs that we learned yesterday, and we'll learn a few more signs too. We, you already know from yesterday. We. It's the same sign as us. Brave is to think of our muscles and going down into our fists. Brave, brave. And you can even use a facial expression of brave. We are brave enough to love. We are brave enough to show compassion from our heart to your heart. Thinking of our feelings and your feelings, that we understand each other. Show compassion. We are brave enough to listen and tell the truth. Here's the word for truth, a sign for truth. Our flat hand and 2 fingers, truth. Truth. So listen and tell the truth. And here's how that goes with the melody. We are brave enough to love. We are brave enough to show compassion. We are brave enough to listen and tell the truth. So let's try it with the signs too. We'll go a little slower first time. We are brave enough to love. We are brave enough to show compassion. We are brave enough to listen and tell the truth. Should we do it again? We are brave enough to love. We are brave enough to show compassion. We are brave enough to listen and tell the truth. Good. Here's the second half of the song. We can be brave. We already know those. We can be brave. We can be brave. We sing that one twice because we're filled with love. Here's like a cup of water or something. I don't know. Filled. 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 Because we're filled with love from the bottom of God's heart. We're going to do the sign for God first. This is just a flat hand sideways, turned outward and down, up and down. God, or God's. God's bottom of his heart. It's a sign for bottom of my heart, but we'll use God's heart. Because we're filled with love from the bottom of God's heart. Because we're filled with love from the bottom of God's heart. We can be brave. We can be brave. And here's how the melody goes for that second half. We can be brave. We can be brave. Because we're filled with love from the bottom of God's heart. We can be brave. We can be brave. So now let's try it with the signs. This is the second half of the song. We can be brave. We can be brave. Because we're filled with love from the bottom of God's heart. We can be brave. We can be brave. So let's try the whole song. We are brave enough to love. We are brave enough to show compassion. We are brave enough to listen and tell the truth. We repeat that. We are brave enough to love. We are brave enough to show compassion. We are brave enough to listen and tell the truth. We can be brave. We can be brave. Because we're filled with love from the bottom of God's heart. We can be brave. We can be brave. And I'm going to do this song one more time too. If you don't want to sing it a second time, that's okay. And you can just turn off the video now. Otherwise, I'm going to do it one more time. And you can join in the signs and the singing with me. We are brave enough to love. We are brave enough to show compassion. We are brave enough to listen and tell the truth. Whoops. We are brave enough to love. We are brave enough to show compassion. We are brave enough to listen and tell the truth. We can be brave. We can be brave because we're filled with love from the bottom of God's heart. We can be brave. We can be brave. Thank you. See you tomorrow.
Thank you so much for singing that song with me. It sure was a lot of fun. Sometimes our compassion helps us make brave choices. And when we do, look out. God's power can restore our communities, our friendships, and ourselves. Later, we will hear a story about some heavy lifting, a massive hole, and some neighbors who took a risk to help a friend. We will see how one act of bravery changed the community. As we prepare to learn more about brave compassion, let us begin with our compassion prayer. Place one hand on your head and one hand on your heart. We are doing this because compassion happens in our brains, and we often feel it in our hearts. Repeat after me. Dear Jesus, your compassion always looked like courage. Strengthen our hearts with your bravery as we risk, reach out, and lift up our siblings near and far. Help us to keep our eyes on you. Amen. Okay, friends, it's time for Bible time, so head on over to those videos. I hope that you have an awesome day at Compassion Camp.